Hello Super Sentai fans and welcome back to Toku Topics. This is rather unexpected. This is definitely uncharacteristic for me here, but as the video title has implied, I have purchased a premium Bandai Figuarts, and a Sentai Figuarts at that. So last summer they revealed SH Figuarts Twokaiser from Zenkaiger, and this was sort of an interesting thing because Figuarts for Sentai have been gone for many years. I did a whole video about every single Sentai Figuart announced up to like 2021, which was a really good video, really fun video to put together. And ever since then, we've had Zenkaiger, we've had now Twokaiser, we've had Don Momotaro, Zenkaiser Black, a prototype shown off for Don Murasame, and of course the renewal version of Gokai Red, which I had to buy it. I mean, look, it has this tiny little Ranger key, like this tiny little Ranger key. So like, that would be a Project Unlock episode in June, July, whenever that is. But then I had to get this guy, so I'm not collecting Figuarts. I'm not collecting Figuarts. But anyway, I saw this for a very good deal. So Premium Bandai Figuarts, like anything else Premium Bandai and also Figuarts, you combine two very expensive things and you put them together, you have a very expensive thing. So of course, most places had this for over $100. I think it retailed for something around that. I'll be putting the price up of whatever it retailed on screen. But I found one on Bai for this much, like $70, some kind of yen total, but it was like 70 something dollars that I paid for this, which is like, yes, that's still expensive, but I had to get him. I had to get my favorite Six Ranger ever. Twokaiser has jumped up there so quickly to become my all-time favorite Six Ranger. I love this suit so much, and the only other figures that I had in my collection was his vinyl figure, which is not here right now, so there's just a picture of it up on screen, and I had this, the Change Hero series figure of him, which I like, and I definitely, am fine with in terms of like having this match Mayudo and Candy's Way figures and stuff on my Zenkaiger display. But this one is going to blow it out of the water. So, I've already cut the premium tape on here. In fact, I've already actually opened this thing like a month ago, because fun fact, I've had this for like a month and just hadn't got around to actually recording the video and taking a look at it until now. So I've already opened it, but I haven't actually like taken it out of the package fully yet. So here he is. Now, being a premium Bandai Figuart, he has no window on his box or anything like that, but this is a first for me to get a premium Bandai Figuart, as I've mentioned, and I never thought this is something I would actually end up doing. It's also something I don't plan on doing very often, because they are so expensive, but look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. So, of course, SH Figuarts, Twokaiser, the Zenkaiger logo. I guess it's just like a Tamashii like stamp of a seal of approval, or what's this, quality. So yeah, it's like their seal of quality approval. Something Hasbro doesn't have, that's for sure. But we have Twokaiser here, looking absolutely gorgeous, so good. On the side, Twokaiser with the Zenkaiger logo. On the other side, you get a picture of the figure Twokaiser, Zenkaiger logo again. It's done up in this nice like gold and red and black all over the place, being his colors. And on the back here, there he is in some of his different poses. So you kind of just got like the more stoic pose, him with the geared delener, which you do get pieces to make it into the sword mode as well. So that's pretty cool. Simple style and heroic action, all that kind of stuff there. On the bottom, just kind of a Bandai support number there if you have a problem with it. And SH Figuarts Twokaiser up there at the top. Very nice. So, I know this has been kind of a pain to open the last time I opened this, because it has this really large flap, and what I mean by that is that the box flap is like a lot bigger than this one is, so it makes it kind of difficult to like put it back in there. But as you can see here, it just kind of shows that the paint may rub off. The top of this is sharp, so be careful with that. It looks like you can spin the wheel and just kind of detach that piece and stuff there. So just kind of giving you some warnings and some things to keep in mind, so you don't damage the figure, or kind of knowing that posing and stuff like that can be somewhat risky. You got to be careful with these. They are incredibly expensive. So we'll just kind of put that back there. Oh man. Look at that. Like, I've already gotten this far. This is about as far as I've gotten the last time that I opened this up, but like, that is gorgeous. So you get, what is that, 10 hands? Because you get 4 additional hands, and then he comes with a pair of hands on him. And of course you get the geared delener and the sword piece, and of course the figure itself. So let's go ahead and carefully, I've been seeing some people were saying that taking the plastic is a little, risky also, or taking it off is a little risky. I've also seen people say that he's kind of like not broken, but like come apart at the torso joint. So I'm definitely trying to keep that in mind in terms of carefully getting this all sorted out, which I am afraid of, and also don't really know how I'm supposed to take this off carefully. There we go. So we got it. So that's off now, and he is here and able to be posed. Oop. So you kind of just want to carefully break in the joints. It feels very sturdy though. Nothing is loose. I'm very happy about that. Very nice and smooth. We're just gonna kind of be quiet here as I just kind of slowly break in everything and just, you know, he's got a toe joint. Figuarts got toes. So there's that. Got a rotation there. Script piece obviously gets in the way a little bit. That's a little squeaky. Just want to be very careful he doesn't just, like, you know, completely snap or something like that. So looking good so far. Like I said, just want to be careful with it. You just want to, you know, just be gentle. See how the rotation goes here. Rotation looks pretty good there. This joint though, there it goes, it fell apart. So that is what people were talking about, I assume. So thankfully that didn't snap. Could you imagine how sad that would have been? It didn't snap, it just came out of the joint there. So it looks like this joint kind of gets, like, I think it's about as far, so like the engineering on this is a little weird. Because like this is definitely supposed to move. As you can see right there, this is definitely supposed to move, but it's like really kind of weirdly engineered. So yeah, you got this entire top torso, and then that clips in right there. And it clipped right back in perfectly fine. But like, yeah, that's just a weird, that's a joint I'm not going to be using very often, that's for sure. But like, that is just kind of a strange engineering aspect of it, in my opinion. But overall, he's quite good. Let's take a look at his helmet as well with the ball joint. And they weren't kidding, these are reasonably sharp. So, you know, keep that in mind if you get this figure. But he does have a very nice ball joint. The collar obviously gets in the way. I don't want to like rub the helmet up against it to like scratch any paint or anything like that. And then the shoulder pads move out of the way, I'd say enough for arm articulation. It's not like the greatest, but it's also not like the worst. But that's just kind of the way that the suit is designed. So I'm not surprised by that at all. But overall, this looks really, really good. So they even got all the black lines there painted there. All the paint is applied super nicely. His buckle looks fantastic. The Zenkaiger symbol is really clean. Same thing with the helmets with the 35 and the visor trim. Like everything is applied just like super pristinely. Really no like paints like, you know, excess paint areas or anything like that. It's just gorgeous. It's so good. And I love all the little like folds and creases and stuff like that. It makes it feel like a real suit. So that is just absolutely awesome. So I will be, even though I'm really bad at posing figures, I will be doing some poses for the end of this video. But before we get to that, we'll of course take a look at the accessories. So here's the very tiny gear delineator. So the sticker on this is not, or it's not a sticker, but the printing on this is not like as accurate as like a sticker would be, just for it to say, you know, to make it look like the proper deluxe gear delineator, which I'm probably putting on screen right now so you can kind of see the comparisons. But for like how tiny this thing is, that is perfectly acceptable. And like you obviously can't tell what gear's in there specifically, but I kind of think that that's more of a, not only would that be a really hard detail to include, but it's also kind of one of those things where you can kind of just pretend it's any gear that he's using, which I think is definitely kind of the way to go with that. And of course you got nice gold paint there, very good, like just, you know, looking accurate. The wheel is fantastically sculpted, like that is a ton of detail in there. Zenkaiger logo, it does rotate. So if you wanted to have him, or if you wanted to do like some stop motion or something where he's gripping it and like turning it around, you can do so. Now you do also get, of course, the piece for the sword, which is right here. Looks very nice, says a gear delineator, just like it should. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the way that I'm not sure exactly how you know, transplant this and put this here, because obviously you want to be very careful with it. So I gotta go figure that out. Okay, so it's actually not that difficult. So as you can see right here, there's like kind of this platform. So you kind of just pull from the top. So, you know, you might think you might pull from like the side or something, but you don't do that because that would break it. But there's a ton of detail underneath there, of course, for sword mode. And then you're going to come back around here and plug it in. I might have just did it upside down or backwards. I definitely did though. So there we go. Clip that in there like that. And now you have the sword mode of the gear delineer. And that's really good. It's a little sharp as well, so just, you know, keep that in mind. They're not, you know, kidifying these or toyifying. Well, these are a toy, but you know what I mean. Like this is definitely not for kids. These are for collectors because these are very expensive, very tiny details and pieces and stuff like that that can break, very fragile. So like, there's that. But of course, any figure collector, I'm sure, pretty much knows that. But like, yeah, that looks really, really good there. I will probably display this more in the gun mode, just because, not that he didn't use the sword mode in his regular mode, but I always kind of associate the sword mode more with the Zenkaiger form, which obviously this is just his base form, and they're not making figures of the other two, or at least I highly doubt that they will. He also used it pretty frequently in Super Twokaiser mode as well, which they're also seemingly not making, and I wouldn't expect them to, but gear delineer, perfect accessory. Of course, that's like the main thing he would have to include. He doesn't really have any other weapons or anything like that, so I don't expect any other accessories from him. But of course, you get a ton of hands, so we already kind of looked at the figure, obviously, but the hands he comes with just out of the box are just these kind of splayed open, kind of pointing-ish hands. So that's just kind of our default hand options. But of course, he does have 8 additional hands. So we have a trigger finger hand for his left hand, and you get a trigger finger holding hand for his right. So very, you know, complementary sets of hands here. So you get a more splayed open hand, or actually this is a 2-finger pointing hand. So that's pretty cool for his left. Then you get a 2-finger pointing hand for his right. And then you get more splayed open hands. That's a set of them right there. And then finally, of course, you just get some default fists. So there's that. Now, I know sometimes changing the hands on Figuarts can be a little scary because it is a very tiny ball joint, so I'm trying to get a good grip on here. So just, you know, carefully take that off, and then we'll probably go ahead and grab one of the trigger finger hands because I'm going to have him hold the delineer. So we'll kind of get a better view of this. So just very, you know, because the joint's going to try to move around and kind of get in your way. So you just want to get a good grip. So with a little bit of finagling, I did finally get it. I'm pretty sure it's on the joint. So we'll go ahead and take the gear delineer, and we will slot it into his hand. It's always a little difficult to like, you know, also get this on camera decently well. I failed to get the finger into the trigger. Alright, so we got something like this going on here. So, you know, like I said, I'm not the best at posing. I just kind of moved the legs and the arm a little bit. But there he is holding it, which does look quite good. So, of course, before I kind of get some more poses here, and that's how I'll do the whole wrap-up for the video, I do want to do a little bit of comparisons. So I already had shown off his Chain Hero series figure before, but I figured you might as well just bring it in at the end, so I'll kind of get him all standing up straight and everything. And here he is compared to some other figures. So of course this Chain Hero series figure from the Zenkaiger line. And then also I brought in the Walmart Retro Mighty Morphin Red because these basically scale with Lightning Collection, or these basically are the exact same scale as Lightning Collection. So you can kind of see that these Figuarts are roughly in scale with Lightning. Like that's going to work pretty decently well, all things considered. Obviously this figure is infinitely better than this one, but this one with all the armor swap pieces that it came with and everything was like 20 something bucks. Obviously this is $50 more than that, so like it's, or at the very least, you know, that's just what I paid for it and I got a deal on it. It's honestly probably more like $80 to $90 more than that is, so there is that. So, you know, obviously keeping it in mind, if you wanted to get this for your collection specifically for like Hasbro 6-inch figures, it's going to work pretty decently well. Obviously it's not going to work as well with the Candy Toy figures, but it's not supposed to, it's not even trying to. It's not trying to fit in with Hasbro stuff either, but like, you know, it will look good on your shelf if you did have it with it. Obviously it's going to look superior, you know, in every way because of all the paint and the joints and everything, but you know, like from a distance it will work if that's something you're trying to kind of set up. And with that, that is going to do it for my video review of the SH Figuarts Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger Twokaiser figure. So if it wasn't already clear enough, I cannot recommend this figure more. If you are a fan of Zenkaiger, but especially if you're a fan of Zox, Twokaiser, even Flint, because like, even though this isn't the female Twokaiser, you can kind of pretend that it could be or something like that, or however you wanted to do it. So I love it. I love it so much. It's so accurate. It's very nicely posable. The joints feel good. The turntable just died again. He is a very, very expensive figure, but if you can try to find him for a good price on Mandarake or Bai or something like that, I highly recommend it. Try to pay, somewhere between like 70 and 100 for this. Anything above 100 is probably a little too much, and you're not really going to be able to find him for like cheaper than like 70. I happened to luck out when I bought this at like the end of January. It is a relatively newish release. I think it only did come out in like January, December, something like that. So you might still be able to find some out there for decent prices, but I highly recommend it. It's going to go, even though I don't have any of the other Figuarts, it's going to go very, very great with Zenkaiger. It also looks nice with the Dawn Brothers stuff, even though he didn't really interact with them yet. And of course, it's going to look gorgeous with the upcoming Gokai Red coming out this summer, and I will definitely be showing him off in that video. So until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LiveNerdJiki or LightningFigPR. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you have this Figuarts? Do you have any of the other Sentai ones, either from like the older stuff or even from the newer stuff? Are you interested in Figuarts, or are you kind of good with just the chain share figures or vinyl figures or other potential figure options for this guy? I want to hear about it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons: Jurassic Samurai, Maggot Alchemist, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, Redstone MCPC, Comics 1017, James Darty, John Luke, Eric Berry, Tyler Buzetsky, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Pierre Midas, CPT Tesla, Cross SCV, Caboose Ed, Socket Monsters, and Anthony Love. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, linked in the description below.